Hello and welcome to Doing Business in Rwanda. I'm Irene Birunji-Mugisha. This week we're exploring the country's infrastructure sector. Rwanda has achieved remarkable economic growth post-1994, averaging double-digit figures for the past 10 years. That's thanks to sound government policies enshrined in the Vision 2020 blueprint that has restored macroeconomic stability and reduced poverty. One of the main priority areas of Vision 2020 is infrastructure development, and now we take a closer look at the current state of the sector, focusing on the strides made not only in the Kigali city, but Rwandan outskirts as well.
About 7.5% of Rwanda's annual budget is committed to infrastructure development. Government has invested approximately $700 million in transport, energy, ICT, and other infrastructure over the past 3 years, with a specific focus on reducing the cost of doing business. These efforts have seen Rwanda climb the World Bank's Doing Business rankings over the past few years, with the country the highest ranked within the East African community in 2012.
Central to all economic development is the infrastructure. You cannot develop industry without energy. You cannot develop industry without water. You cannot increase the quality of life without supplying some of these infrastructure issues. So we, at the last retreat, we presented our plan, our strategy, how we're going to do this, what we are going to deliver. We put up aims and put up milestones, what we need to achieve at what time in each area of the infrastructure level. If Rwanda has to continue at the growth rate of 11.5% to reach the EDPRS targets, we believe that we have to play a key role in all these areas.
Infrastructure is enabler, of course. It is enabler for development, for economic growth, for investment. We, as the city, plan for basic infrastructure like roads. For instance, in line with the implementation of our master plan, in these 4 years, we've managed to construct 80 kilometers of roads, well paved with tarmac. And in 5 years to come, we plan to double.
Rwanda government has made clear choices to invest heavily, strategically in infrastructure. Hence, the airline, the new Bugesera International Airport that will be commencing construction this year. We are one of the key infrastructure development projects that the government embarked on 3 years ago that has changed the face and perception of the country.
In order to drive its infrastructure projects, the Rwandan government established an independent Ministry of Infrastructure in 2002 and has also put several simultaneous bodies in place like the Rwanda Transport Development Agency, Rwanda Housing Authority, and Rwanda Development Board.
If we put all things together, that by next June, we should add online another 80 megawatt of energy. And eventually, we are hoping that by the year 2017, at the end of EDPRS2, we are hoping to add on another 560 megawatts. And we believe this can make a lot of difference. And obviously, as soon as we get some of these things, we get rid of the thermal power stations, which are very costly.
Us on the execution, we have to make sure we have the right people. We have to make sure, we attract more and more investors. We attract them and retain them. Of course, EWASA being one of the largest employers in the country, you can imagine there's a domino effect. We've been doing very well in terms of revenue collection, especially on the electricity side. We want to bring that as well on the water side. We've come a long way. We came from literally 50 or 100,000 connections to we tripled the connectivity in the last 2 years. Of course, it's a good achievement, but it's not enough. You know, we have to really quadruple it.
One of the biggest investors in the real estate. And the real estate is an important investment because it's the most visible. So we have already built quite a number of estates in Rwanda. Vision 2020 is well known. In Gachiriro, we have Umucyo Estate, which is more recent, and also a number of commercial buildings. And we have a huge real estate investment project, which is called Vision City, high-end. It's going to be around 4,000 units, with a variety of products ranging from luxury villa to apartment to townhouse. But it's going to be a new city with school, commercial center.
The revitalized Rwanda, commonly known as the land of thousand hills, has breathtaking green landscapes and accommodates a population of 11 million. The terrain and growing population requires strategic planning from government in terms of urbanization, road networks, affordable power, and housing and availability of clean water.
Our infrastructure backbone, much as we've done a lot and achieved quite a lot in terms of infrastructure development, we still need to invest quite a lot more in it. We need to establish a central sewer system. We need to improve our public transport system. All these, are infrastructure-based developments that have to take place. So we have quite a lot of infrastructure development ahead of us to be able to successfully achieve, a sustainable city.
It's very important that in our project we take into consideration the land that we have in Rwanda, which is limited in size. So it's now important that we present the model of building apartments and people to start learning, living into apartments. We're also going to do low-cost housing in Batsinda. That one is a limited investment, 300 units. We're trying to see how we can build apartment, but for people with less revenue, but where they can live with dignity.
In order to achieve its Vision 2020 goals, government is investing heavily in human capital, not only to create employment, but to also carry out its ambitious infrastructure projects.
The ministry has to base on their strategy of developing the infrastructure based on EPRS and also based on Vision 2020. How do you manage that? Unfortunately, what has been happening now is that a lot of projects which are developed sometimes are ad hoc. Somebody is interested to do a geothermal project, he can look, I can assist you develop a geothermal project, or I can assist you develop a 10 megawatt solar plant, or I can assist you to develop whatever. But are they connected to our development plans? So eventually we want to put up a strategy in the ministry on the development of the infrastructure based on the Vision 2020 and EDPRS.
We live in a region where there's a serious power deficit. So there's an opportunity there. We're very active in the East African power pool. Of course, we have to build this transmission line, this regional project. And they've begun already. There are many projects ongoing, connecting all the way from Ethiopia, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, all the way to Rwanda and DRC and Burundi. So there are these transmission line projects that we're closely monitoring. We're actively participating with the help of the World Bank, the KfW, African Development Bank, EU and others. So we just have to make sure these projects are going online much faster than before.
As the country opens its borders with the East African Community Regional Bloc, there are a lot of opportunities for investors to invest in infrastructure. Government has made huge strides in regulating the sector and also provides investment incentives.
There are some regional projects which we are working on. There's the issue of Rusumo, which is a target for about 80 megawatts of power connectivity. And for this, we are working with countries like Burundi and Tanzania, the Rusumo project. At the same time, at the Rusumo, if I'm talking about Rusumo, for increasing trade between our two countries, we are putting up another bridge at the Rusumo, crossing the Rusumo River. At the same time, I think all border stops now, we are putting up what they call one stop border posts.
If we generate extra power, we can sell it to the region, and we're looking at power trading. I mean, there's some concept and feasibility studies that have been made on this regional grouping and look at how we can bring power from. We can have an exchange market, you know, and really create poles of industrialization.
If Rwanda is going to become another hub in the region, then we had to put in place, or government had to put in place, infrastructure that meets the standards, hence the Bugesera International Airport. Its initial capacity, first phase, is going to be capable of holding more than 3 million passengers. That is something sizable if you compare it with what we've had before. But this is going to be scalable to up to 6 to 7 million going forward. It will house all the kind of infrastructure in terms of terminals, in terms of cargo holds, in terms of think about anything that you find around an international state-of-the-art airport. Bugesera will have it. So it's going to completely change the face of the country again. And of course, it will spur us to the next level.
Despite the country's phenomenal growth, Rwanda still faces a number of challenges. These include limited access to capital for infrastructure development, the high cost of housing construction, and the shortage of skilled labor.
Our skilled engineers are very stretched, but you know, we are putting ways to work with the universities. I'm sure you've heard about this WDA, Workforce Development Authority. So we can get more and more people coming from the ranks and from the schools. We are creating collaborations with this institution of higher learning, the technical schools, so that they train the skills that we need. So there's been a two-way communication. Of course, this is it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity.
Capital that's required sometimes is not easily available. The expertise sometimes you have to depend on people, the skilled people coming from the region and even beyond. So those are a few challenges. But the way things are turning up is catching up very fast. Rwandans are picking up, and the needed skills are getting more available.
We have the challenge of the fact that we do not have alternative construction technologies outside here. There's limited construction materials, though we are exploiting in different alternatives together with the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Rwanda Housing Authority. But we need to look for a construction technology and construction materials that will make construction much cheaper. Yeah, right now it's quite expensive, and ultimately that feeds into the end user, and then the affordability component becomes a challenge, whether it's housing, whether it is a commercial space. Either way, you find that you know, if the cost of construction is expensive, ultimately the cost of ownership or rental also goes high.
Rwanda is looking to overcome these challenges through innovative incentive schemes like the Kigali Special Economic Zone. Phase 1 covers 96 hectares, located in Gasabo district, and will host the industrial park, which is due for relocation from Chikondo to Kichukiro district.
The government of Rwanda has the mandate to invest heavily in infrastructure and to maintain infrastructure development as a way of course, enhancing the SEZ program, the Special Economic Zones program. This is very key because, you know, it's a serious mandate. It requires heavy investment, and of course, for investors, you know, we say that for them to get attracted here, first of all, is for them to have serviced land, and then the development of infrastructure. When we talk of infrastructure here, we are speaking of sewage or water treatment. We are speaking of water itself, installation of pipes and so on. We are speaking of electricity or energy. We are speaking of roads. and we are speaking of fiber installation or fiber optic for communication. So all of them, as we speak today in the first phase, we are standing at about 98%, so it is almost complete.
Rwanda also recently launched the Kigali City Master Plan, an innovative urban development plan that government hopes will transform the capital city into a services-oriented model global city. The plan focuses on better preservation of nature and the use of natural cycles to provide efficient infrastructure. It also aims to improve informal settlements and create new developments in open spaces.
When you talk about green city, you look at the type of infrastructure that is being developed. Does it support the use of good energy sources, or does it maximize our limited energy sources? Do we look at ways where we can recycle rainwater or even the water that we use, wastewater? And it looks at several different components. How do you design your building so that you can encourage the use of natural ventilation, natural lighting? Then obviously there's a component of the greening, as we said, having a green offset where you have well-defined and designed landscapes. And when we start to talk about defined and designed landscapes, then you start to look at how is your infrastructure designed to support pedestrian movement so that you don't have a lot of vehicular traffic, which leads into the carbon emission and other elements that avoid or hinder a place from becoming a green city.
Well, Vision City, as I said, is in Gatriro. We own around 150 hectares. It's a huge project, but we are going to construct it in phases. The first phase is 500 units. We have a short list of already 2,500 people, so it is in high demand. We, as I said, the plan is to do a new city with churches, schools, and shopping center, really modern, but catering to a range of people. We are going, as I said, to build 5-star villa, 5-bedroom villa, overseeing the Gulf, really the high end. And then we have townhouse, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom villas, and apartment, ranging from 1 bedroom to 4 bedroom. But the most important is, of course, the quality of the finishing and the place. We want to give value to our investment because we bought the plot and it is quite expensive, and to have a good return, we have to give quality.
It's a very good environment, I may say, because one, there are laws. There are laws. If you're investing, you know the incentives that are there. You don't have to hustle to get things done. The banks access to finance is very easy, and surprisingly, it takes a very short time to raise finances if you're in need of finances from the local banks, if you have a good plan. The other thing is government having defined exactly what's needed through this Vision 2020. You have plans. You know what's required. So you don't have to. Businesses don't have to hustle to really figure out exactly what's required. So it becomes very easy to fit in.